Hello, this is Dan Dibbler.
Hey, Dan, are you one of the assistant attorneys?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. I got a quick question. OCGA 161025, giving false name. I'm looking at it right now in the code at Justia. It doesn't indicate what a true name is. It just says a person who gives a false name. Could you tell me what a true name is?
It's whatever name you have.
Well, right, but I'm asking because I was reading the paper and someone was arrested and one of the charges was under this section. So how does anyone find out that one's giving a false name in the first place? If someone gives the name Joe Schmo, how does anyone know to argue the opposite, that it's not Joe Schmo?
Well, it depends on the circumstances of generally they run a booking report or something, and that's how they find out through your Social Security number what your real name is.
Okay. Well, so the real number is associated with a Social Security number? I'm sorry, a real name, like a true name is what we're referring to? That's a Social Security number, or is there a name attached to that?
What are you trying to get at here? What's your concern?
It's very strange to me the way this code section works because it doesn't actually tell us what a true name is. So when I look up the definition of false, it says not true. So what's true? How do we? And you're making reference to Social Security. So are you making, is a true name the birth certificate name, the legal name?
Yes. Mm-hmm. If I say I'm Fred Smith and I'm not Fred Smith, then I'm giving a false name.
Well, you can't ever be Fred Smith. I mean, you're a living being. So, but you might use Fred Smith as a label. But what I'm trying to figure out here is as long as Fred Smith is the one on the birth certificate, that's the true name, correct?
Generally, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's pretty interesting. Have you ever heard of legal name fraud?
What? Sorry?
It's called legal name fraud, and it's pretty interesting. It sounds like you haven't heard of it. But the birth certificate has a copyright holder. It's called the state of Georgia. And you cannot use the birth certificate unless you get written permission to do so by the copyright holder. If you don't get that written permission, then you're committing copyright infringement, which is a crime.
Well, you asked me what a true name is under the false name statute. And
okay.
That's what I think I've answered it. So.
And so, okay.
About all this other stuff that you're talking about.
Well, yeah. So when we use a name on the birth certificate, or if we use a birth certificate in any way, that's fraud because it's copyright infringement. And so part of the 161025 deals with intent of misleading the officer as to his identity. And so if we give an officer a birth certificate name, we're misleading the officer because that's not a name that we have a right to use because the state of Georgia actually owns that. We can only get a copy of the birth certificate. And furthermore, I have contacted vital records attorneys at Georgia and also upper management to get written permission to both request and use the birth certificate, and they flat out deny me that. They refuse to provide me written permission to use a birth certificate. So I can't even use the birth certificate. So so I just losethename.com is a site that you can go to learn more about this. But the reason I'm bringing this up to you is because there's at the Byron PD there's a Detective Moore that doesn't know this, and also at the Butler PD there's a Captain Wiggins that doesn't get any of this. And so I'm thinking training is required for these guys so they can better understand copyright infringement because they're aiding and abetting others in copyright infringement when they demand legal names.
I don't agree with that argument, but you seem set on it, so I think I've answered your question.
It's not an argument. It's Vital Records, and they've actually agreed with me in writing.
Okay. Well, is there anything else I can help you with?
Yeah. Can you get these cops to stop arresting people who don't provide birth certificate names?
I don't have any authority over Byron or Butler.
Okay. Well, you're the district attorney, so when people are charged with giving a false name, and that meaning not the true name on the birth certificate, you can't charge those people. You can't prosecute them because then you would be aiding and abetting in legal name fraud.
Well, that's an argument someone would have to make in court.
Well, they can't go to court. They're not allowed in court without a bar card. Only attorneys can go to court. Only attorneys are allowed to legally practice.
Anything else I can help you with?
Yeah, how do I use a legal name without being an attorney?
I think you're very confused about this, and I don't quite understand your argument. And
well, it's a legal name, right? A legal name on the birth certificate. If I don't have a bar card, then I don't have legal authority to use it, right?
I don't even know what you're trying to say to me right now. You're very confused.
Well, you're a very smart guy. You passed the bar,
Is there anything else
and you're an attorney. I think you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, I don't.
I think you're obfuscating because you're afraid to actually address this.
All right. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Yeah, how does one use legal things like legal names and legal birth certificates without a law license, a law card, a bar card?
Well, that question doesn't make any sense to me, sir. So.
Well, then you're not competent to practice law. You're not competent. You're not legally competent then. What are you doing? You're not legally competent, correct? If you don't know a simple question like this, then you must not be competent.
Well, that's your opinion. So I hope you have a good day, sir. Thank you.